The Morning Majority on 630. WMAL.
It is 8:07. You're with the Morning Majority, and tonight there's going to be a big Tea Party debate in Tampa, Florida. This is where they're going to have the convention, in 2012. And Wolf Blitzer is the moderator of said Tea Party debate, and he joins us now on the phone. Wolf, how are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. How are you?
It's good to have you on the program. Look, as it sort of shakes out right now, you would say that Perry and Romney are sort of the top-tier candidates. One would guess that before the Tea Party group there tonight, that Michelle Bachmann is going to make a move to try to reestablish her candidacy, revive her candidacy, and one would guess that she'll probably do it by coming after one Rick Perry on the issue of Social Security.
I suspect you're right. Her numbers have really gone down since he formally jumped into the race. And if she's going to claw back, she's got to do something. And I suspect she's going to go after Rick Perry. But we'll see. We'll see how that comes up. And Social Security is obviously a huge issue in not only in Florida but in Iowa, where there's a lot of older voters. And remember, older voters vote in much bigger percentages than younger voters, especially in early caucuses and primaries, and even in general elections. So, this Social Security issue is emerging as a real issue, and there's a real source of different attitudes between Perry, Romney, Michelle Bachmann, some of the other Republican candidates as well. And there'll be 8 on the stage tonight.
Well, this is being billed as the first ever Tea Party debate. How is the Tea Party involved, and what's the format like for tonight?
We're co-sponsoring with the Tea Party Express here in Tampa at the Florida State Fairgrounds. And basically what's going to happen is that we're going to give an opportunity to Tea Party activists to stand up and ask their questions to the candidates. I will, do the follow-up questions and hone in on the candidates after they set the stage. And we have Tea Party activists in 3 other cities who are going to be able to pose their questions as well in Arizona, in Ohio, and in Virginia. So, in addition to about 1,000 people who will be at the auditorium here in Tampa. So it'll be an opportunity for activists, supporters, Tea Party members to get up there and pose questions that are of interest to them. And we all know what's of interest to them, which is also of interest to the overwhelming majority of the American public, which is jobs, the economy, the government, regulations, taxes, all of these issues that are so important.
So you'll have actual members of the Tea Party in the auditorium asking the questions directly to the candidates?
Correct.
Okay.
They will be there as well. I think there's going to be about 1,000 people in that auditorium.
Wow.
Well, is there anyone else on the panel with CNN doing questions, or you're the sole moderator?
I'm the sole moderator.
Okay. And are we doing any this or that questions this time? And the New Hampshire debate, that was controversial. So no this or that.
You mean boxers or briefs?
Right. And it seemed to me in the last debate that, along with her falling poll numbers, Michelle Bachmann got very few questions in the last debate, which is part of the reason she was very quiet. How do you decide before one of these who you direct questions to and how that goes?
Well, it's hard. In the last cycle, 4 years ago, I moderated 5 presidential debates. And it's a lot harder to do it when there are 8 candidates on the stage than when there are 2 or 3 that are still fighting. I did 8, 9 candidates. I remember I did the first Republican debate in New Hampshire and the first Democratic debate in New Hampshire 4 years ago, and there were 8 or 9 candidates on the stage. And you try to be as responsible and as fair as you can in posing questions to all the candidates as equally as you can, although there's no proven science that you can do it. There's certainly a temptation to give the front runners more time, although I'm going to do my best to try to make sure that all 8 candidates have an equal opportunity to get involved and play. You're right, Michelle Bachmann didn't get a whole lot of time at the last debate at the Reagan Library, but we'll see how that works tonight. I suspect we really spend a lot of time over these past several days, my team over here with me, making sure that we get the right questions to the right candidates and that we give them an equal opportunity as best as we can, knowing this is not a perfect science, to make their points.
Well, because I know
my goal is real simple. It's not that complicated. I want people who watch this debate tonight at 8 o'clock to emerge after the whole thing is over with a better idea of where these candidates agree with each other and where they disagree with each other, so that they'll be more informed when they have to go out and make a decision. Do they vote for X or Y or Z? Have they made up their minds? Will they change their minds based on the performance tonight? So I really want to go through substantive, important issues and let them have a chance to make their points.
Wolf, I know, because I know you. I know you're a pretty thoughtful and you're a pensive guy. You think about things deeply, and we just got through the 9/11 anniversary, and I just wonder, as you look back on the events of some 10 years ago, which you were so actively involved in covering at the time, what are your thoughts?
You know, it was a sad day, remembering all those personal stories from 10 years ago. You know, every time some young, boy or girl would get up and say, "I miss my dad," or "I miss my mom," I wish my dad would take me to a baseball game. I just would, or a young girl got up there and said, what would you really want from your dad or your mom? And they would say, "I just wish we would have a family dinner." You know, that kind of stuff is so sad, and it's so heartbreaking. 3,000 people were killed by these 19 terrorists, as we all know. And so it's I emerged yesterday saying, on the one hand, it's amazing to me that over these past 10 years, after a horrendous attack like that occurred on 9/11, we haven't had a similar spectacular attack in the United States. And if somebody would have said that to me 10 years ago, I would have been shocked. But it's been amazing that it hasn't really happened. Thank God for that. But at the same time, let's be realistic. There are people out there who still hate the United States and want to kill Americans for whatever reason. They think it's justified. So you got to be on alert. So this problem is not going to go away. You and I, Brian, we've covered a lot of these stories, going back 20 years.
That's right.
So we know it's a constant struggle.
All right, Wolf Blitzer hosting the Tea Party debates tonight in Florida, 8 o'clock on CNN, and I'm sure you're prepared for Newt Gingrich to yell at you about how it's a gotcha question, right?
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. By the way, can I just say that Wolf Blitzer was the guy who broke me in the first time I covered over at the Pentagon. He's very nice to me when I was over there for the very first time. He showed me the ropes, and I'll never forget it. He's a very good guy.
You're to blame, then, Wolf.
Yeah, it's your fault, Wolf.
Thank you.
He's a good guy, Brian. He did a good. This was during the first Gulf War. The rest of you guys were still in elementary.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. Thanks, Wolf. We'll be watching.